Let's figure this out together. What was Benjamin Moore thinking? Today's video is brought to you by me. Kind of. So we've been polling you guys for the last couple weeks about the People's Choice Color of the Year, and you've been voting, and you've been making your opinions quite clear. We're gonna keep on narrowing things down until we have one final color category that wins it all. And just a quick disclaimer, the color swatches in the post itself, those aren't the actual colors we're gonna go with. It's just a visual representation of the broad color category that you're voting on. So if you don't like that shade of blue or that shade of green, don't worry. You're just kind of voting for green or blue. Once we all collectively figure out the color category that we all love, then we can start fine-tuning a bit and finding the actual People's Choice Color of the Year. So I can't wait to see what we all decide on together. We finally made it, everyone. We got through all of the new color trends colors by Benjamin Moore for 2023, and there were a lot, right? There was quite a variety of colors, both in the bold category, and then you had a couple neutral ones. And after going through the first 8 main colors in a lot of detail, I've had some time to reflect and also figure out what you all thought about all of these colors. And I gotta tell you, it's been a pretty broad range of opinions. Some which were very positive and others that were horribly negative because of how impractical a lot of these colors seem. And not to compare this color palette to other companies, but on this channel, we do like to talk about all paint companies and all colors. We're non-discriminant here, if that's the word. No discrimination, okay? Especially when it comes to color, because it's kind of a universal thing, right? But when we look at Behr Paint, for example, releasing Blank Canvas, which is essentially an off-white, and it's a color that a lot of people looked at and said, it's not even a color, what a cop-out. But to others, they're like, actually, yeah, I could totally see myself using that. In fact, we had a Behr or a Home Depot employee in our comment section talk about how much of that paint color they're selling. But to be honest, when I look at Savannah Green, I don't think I'll be seeing a ton of those cans leaving the paint store. But that's just me. And I'm actually kind of into it in a way. So today I really wanted to talk about the overarching topic of color of the year and color trends and all of that. I do have some conflicting feelings about it that I wanted to voice with you in sort of a candid style. I actually didn't really prepare for this video at all, but I just felt compelled to talk to you guys. So a big part of design and color trends is a lot of things happen in cycles. So we see a lot of colors that get really popular, kind of fall out of favor, take some time to marinate in the background, and then they come back again, maybe slightly updated or nuanced a little bit to adjust for the times. And for the last 15, 20 years, a lot of designs have been dominated with neutral colors all over. And a big part of that is neutral colors just are easy to work with for the most part, as long as there's not any finicky undertones messing up your flow. But by nature, when you have things like gray and beige and combinations of the two, you can have those colors sort of sit in the background and blend in, and then you can change up your furniture and your accessories and your plants, picture frames and all that as much as you want without having to worry about, oh, now I gotta paint my whole house again. And I think Blank Canvas, again, Behr's choice, really was about that. It's a blank canvas. It's in the name. It's a paint color that you can throw on the wall and not worry about it and then just put other colors around it. Benjamin Moore's approach was entirely different. It was the exact opposite. They gave us bold, dynamic, and polarizing colors. Colors that not a lot of you could see yourself using in your home. Like a raspberry blush foyer? I don't know. Starry Night Blue kitchen? That doesn't sound great. So we have 2 prominent paint companies. I mean, I'll leave out, Sherwin-Williams and Dulux and all them, because I think Behr and Benjamin Moore, they're really great examples of 2 very different ways of looking at color of the year and color trends. How can both companies have such differing selections, but actually make sense either way you look at it?
I don't make sense, I make change.
This leads me to my overarching theme of the color of the year. I think it's okay to have a figurative color of the year and a literal color of the year, especially when it comes to paint. So you have Blank Canvas by Behr, which is more of a literal paint color of the year, in the sense where it's a paint color that you can use in your home in 2023 and not even bat an eye. It's an obvious choice. But Benjamin Moore is more of a figurative color of the year, a conceptual color of the year. It is the notion that we need to move more towards color and expression and creativity. That doesn't mean that you need to pick that color specifically and paint your house with it, because there are a lot of people that are just happier with those neutral colors, those off-whites, those more passive colors. But I think it's also okay to let people know that, hey, you don't need to just go with classic gray all the time, even though it's one of my favorites. You can experiment with color. And it also doesn't even need to be in the form of your wall color, let's say, right? It can be colors that you can paint onto your furniture, your accessories, an accent wall, things like that. It's honestly really great to see that companies are willing to sort of push the envelope a little bit more. And they're not telling us that we have to use these colors, right? It just serves as encouragement, I think, to explore things. I mean, raspberry blush is a really, really cool color, right? I love that coral coloration. And again, I do have it in my bedroom, not raspberry blush itself, but a very similar color on a canvas that I got in Greece of the Parthenon. It's really sweet. I just gravitate towards that color. But again, it's in the form of a piece of artwork. It's not all over, although it can be. I also seen a lot of you guys that are almost angry at these colors. People are criticizing companies for saying that this has to be the color that you use this year. But I'm arguing that they aren't saying that. It's more just, this is where things are heading. You don't necessarily need to follow suit. You don't need to repaint if you don't want to, but it could serve as encouragement to maybe make alternative choices. Because raspberry blush is a pretty alternative choice. It's not even the most polarizing color in the palette, but it's moving away from a more neutral brown, even a terracotta kind of color that we've seen recently, and going into coral direction, which is a little more updated, I would say, a little more modern, a little more fun. And I think that's always a good thing. And for everyone else, hey, there's neutral colors as well, right? Those 4 neutral colors that Benjamin Moore didn't really advertise too much, but are available on their website, that's a great tool to have too, because those are the colors that you can really build off of. Start with those neutral bases, and then you can add those colors in for some more saturation. That's a great starting point, I think, for a lot of people, right? You don't necessarily want to commit to just throwing turquoise all over your walls, but you can have a neutral backdrop, kind of like a blank canvas, for example, and then you can have those bright pops of color sprinkled in selectively, whether it's in a small room, like a little powder room or a little playroom, even a bedroom if you really want to express yourself in your own space, or you can have it in more open areas of your home in accent form. Not necessarily with paint, but with little things like pillows and blankets, artwork, things like that. So really, when you first look at those colors, it is a bit off-putting and a bit jarring because they are so dynamic, and unlike anything we've really seen in quite a number of years, to insinuate that it's time to go bold and dynamic is a big move. And it's maybe jarring to some people that have been used to grays and neutrals and taupes for so many years. But I think it does signal that shift away from safe, neutral, and boring. At the end of the day, it really comes down to what you enjoy though. My opinion is going to be different than your opinion. Benjamin Moore's opinion is quite different from Bear's or Sherwin-Williams. But I hope at the very least, a color palette like this could give some of you some validation in that urge to really explore creatively with your color choices in your home. And for everyone else that maybe just want to pass on these colors and want to stick to their go-to colors, I think that's totally fine too. As you can see, the wall behind me, pretty neutral. This is actually November rain for those of you that are wondering, but the lighting makes it look a lot darker on camera. I still love neutrals too, but I think there's a time and place where you can really have some fun with your colors. And these colors, they're a lot of fun. I'm really curious though, like how do you envision the color of the year? Like, do you think it's a color that we actually are gonna go and buy and paint our house with? Do you think it should be a more practical choice? Or do you think it should be more conceptual and perhaps avant-garde, maybe a little contrarian to sort of pull us into different directions and sort of agitate the color wheel a little bit? I'm kind of liking that. I don't know. I mean, I can go find a number of light neutrals that work, but to get something that is so different is thought-provoking. Doesn't necessarily mean I'll go buy it and paint my bedroom with it. I mean, I could, but it does get you thinking, you know? And thinking is good. I gotta exercise my brain a little bit more. Bit of a rambler this video, but it's something I wanted to really talk about. Just the whole color of the year, color trends thing. Should it directly influence the paint that you buy and the colors that you choose? I don't think so, but it could have that secondary effect of maybe broadening your horizons a little bit and just giving you some other ideas that you may or may not want to use. But I think that's a net positive. But the only color of the year that really matters is the people's choice. So stay tuned for the polls in the community section. Keep on voting until we find our ultimate color for 2023. And maybe it's a lot different than what everyone else picked. I think that'd be cool, right? Catch you in the next video, which is right here. Clicky, clicky. Ooh, more fun with me. Less rambling, maybe.